and thank you for joining us. It is officially Thrive Thursday. I'm Laura Brandao, and today we have three guests who are going to share with us how they have adapted to our new world and are now thriving. Let's meet our guests. From North Carolina, we have Patricia Suggs. She is the founder of Stand Up to Stand Out, achieving success by being visible. From Maryland, we have Angela Macan. She is the owner of Taxes to You, specializing in individual and small business tax services. And also from Maryland, we have Karen Butler. She is the founder of A Bridge to a Horizon, a life coaching firm that specializes in helping others achieve their personal goals by improving their confidence, capacity, and productivity. Oh, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. And we were having such a lovely conversation before we went live that let's keep that going. All right, Patricia.
Yes.
Last almost year now has got a lot of change, a lot of adaptation, and a lot of difference that has occurred in all of our lives. Please share with us, what were some of those changes that happened? And the biggest thing I want to hear is, what did you learn that you would never go back to and are now thriving because of the changes that have transpired during that time?
Okay. Yeah. For me, that's not a hard one to answer because I'm not a techie. You know, I'm a little old for the techie generation. I didn't grow up with a what do you call them, controller in my hand. Yeah, for games. I don't know how to do that. So I think the biggest thing for me has been learning Facebook and Facebook Live and learning Zoom. You know, Zoom, I have had more Zoom meetings. I have them every day now. I didn't even know what that was a year ago. I never even thought about it. I mean, I just never heard about it. So that's one of the big things. And I would never want to go back pre-Zoom because I have found there is power, you know, while I love one-on-ones face-to-face, and I love being with groups, I have really enjoyed this because I can, you know, despite what's going on outside, there's still that camaraderie, meeting new people and all. And I would have never had that had we not had to resort to Zoom as opposed to doing live.
So how did your business change? You know, so from I would assume before you were doing one-on-one and now you're doing these Zooms. So what did you immediately adapt? Like, was it like, well, shelter in place, okay, we go to Zoom, or was it over time? Okay,
it was over time. Yeah, because I was doing, you know, one-on-ones, and I was also being able to go out and meet with groups and do, you know, talks and presentations and that kind of thing. So it was a slow development in the beginning because I really did not understand how it worked or how you operated it. So I began to experience it. I had some mentors who helped me, and they would, you know, get me online, and then they would train me on, okay, this is what you do, and this is how, you know, what you do next. And so it was slow. It was a buildup. And so the business has really shifted in that I'm not as worried about, oh, do I have a presentation today? Or, you know, because I know I can get on Zoom and do it whenever, and record it and, you know, put it up. I mean, it's just been amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you that, you know, I was watching something online about technology stocks yesterday, and the gentleman said, you know, he was actually speaking about advancing in technology, and he went back as far as like cars, you know, General Motors back then. And they were saying that due to the pandemic, we actually went 20 years in the future. They literally said because of that, because it forced everybody to work from home, you know, everybody doing digital, online banking, online everything. And they said, it's not going back. Like, we're 20 years in advance, and now we're going to pick up in 2040, right? And then we're just going to keep going. I thought that was fascinating.
That is fascinating. You know? Yeah.
So Patricia, what do you do with your company? Tell us a little bit about what your services are.
Okay. And I have two. I've actually, and that's the other thing. I started amidst the pandemic is a publishing company, and so
Oh,
I have PKS Publishing, which is mine, and I'm actually producing a book now, a multi-author book on women finding their purpose. It's called Aspire. So I'm taking that, and in the authors that I'm getting are really sharing their journeys to their success. And that is amazing. It's a wonderful addition to the coaching because for me, I think women, we were talking earlier, it's women's time. And I believe that women need the opportunity and they need to read other women's stories to say, okay, I have those talents inside. I have power in me that I haven't tapped into yet. Or maybe they've been told all their lives, no, you can't do that. Or maybe they're being told that now. But in reading these stories, my hope and prayer really is that they will say, oh, I'm good. I mean, I have a lot of good things inside me, and I can take the step to live my dreams and to live my passion and to do work that maybe they never thought of before. So that's my goal. And they can only do that if they become visible. And you become visible by working on a lot of different areas, from self-confidence to finding your voice, learning to speak out, learning to stand up on your own and be able to confront if you need to, and know how to deal with those issues in a compassionate but firm way, know how to deal with limiting beliefs and self-sabotage, which we all do at every now and then. It comes back, even if we train ourselves not to, it still comes back. So in all those things, I think, and setting boundaries is another big one. All of those can produce someone who becomes very visible, no matter where she is.
And we live in such an amazing world right now that we
yeah.
all can be visible.
Yeah,
right?
we can.
There is no reason why we can't be, but except ourselves. A lot of times it's ourselves that holds ourselves back from being
those
visible.
little thoughts, oh, I can't do that, or oh, people will think I'm silly, or they just don't trust their own ideas. And they think that they're going to be ridiculed or put down, and maybe they have been. And so they've learned to just back off.
Well, Patricia, I think all of us right now at this moment in time are telling all of them out there, no, they are good enough. They are more than enough. And they all have something special in this world, and they need to be visible to share.
Absolutely. And it's time for them to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Angela, tell us what's been happening here.
Man, thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I want to thank Regina Gibbons for nominating me last week, and I'm honored to be on the show with you, Laura, Karen, and Patricia. It's such an honor.
So tell us, what has happened over this last year? What has changed? How have you adapted? And what will you no longer, if I'd like to use my magic wand, if my magic wand came out and said, poof, we're back in December of 2019, what would you say? You know what? No, I've learned these lessons and I'm moving forward and I'm thriving from them. So what would you not go back to?
Okay, well, definitely. One of the things that happened last year, March, I haven't been back in the office since March 19th, 2020. And when we started to transition from the office to remote home, I started seeing the numbers of COVID going up and fear crept in. And I did not realize that my faith was being tested. Mm-hmm. And so at that moment, I would say probably a few months after that, because I had became so paranoid seeing all these numbers going up, and fear was consuming me. Mm-hmm. And I realized that faith and fear cannot operate in the same place. I had to be stretched, and I had to get to a place of, man, God did not bring you this far in life to let you go now. And so my faith was exercised in this past year beyond its normal comfort levels or comfort zones. My faith has been stretched to believe that everything happens for a reason, that he is still in control, and so I had to operate my faith. So that alone was just a paradigm shift. I've always been a believer, but it's like, what happens when you put the tea in the hot water, the tea bag in the hot water, what really comes out, and so I saw the humanness in me operating out of fear and realized that I can no longer do that.
So what did you do during that journey? Like as you were being tested and you kind of had to go through this process, what did you do? What did that look like?
Well, what it looked like was I started doing meditation. And that led to me starting to get outside, and I was going outside, and then I started bike riding because that was the safe thing to do. And I found myself seeing places I would have never seen driving in my car. I started seeing nature and the beauty of the earth just outside, because before, and this is what to segue into the next question, I don't want to go back to being in that hamster wheel or that box or that radius of always being on the go, where I wasn't taking time to stop and literally smell the roses, and I was on the go. I was at this committee and I had to drive here. I'm in traffic. I'm doing all this ripping and running and being here and being there. And I would have never had the chance to slow down to do those things and get in touch with nature and look at the beauty of the trees and listening to the birds sing as the dusk goes down. It changed my whole outlook. It just did. So I don't want to go back to that hard schedule that I used to have and that rushing and always on the go. Because now I'm able to spend more time connecting with self, with God, with friends, because before I was always text. And now I have the time to pick up the phone. Hey, how you doing? And even though I am still busy in the pandemic, I still find that these are things that are more important, to focus on.
I love it. And I have to tell you, if I go back, remember, I've been doing this show since around the time you went remote. That was about the same time. And week over week, the number one thing that people, the common theme is similar to what you said, Angela. It's the woman, the last episode, the woman said she had a tree in her backyard that she never knew blossomed. And she never knew it. She missed it every year, never saw it, had no idea. And for the first time, she saw it bloom. And we all say this, right? And I'm the same way. I agree with you. And I think it's glorious. Do you think we can keep it? I really want to know. Do you think we can keep it once, the vaccines and all the numbers are good? And let's say 2 years in the future.
I don't think we're going to keep it the way it is. I think it's going to be, there's going to be parts of it that's going to be kept. Because for real, it's up to each individual person to keep that.
Right.
And so while some people appreciate it, other people are just so anxious to get back out there. Yeah. So I say it's going to be half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. That is awesome. And now I'm assuming since it's tax season, you're probably going to come into even more of a busy season, I would assume, right?
Yes. And I was sitting here thinking, I was like, well, March and April last year, clients were still coming into the office because we didn't know about the mask mandatory. It hadn't taken, the COVID restriction hadn't taken place. So I was still seeing clients face to face. But now I operate so much more efficiently because I do Zoom tax appointments.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
It works. They get to see me. I share the screen and we go over it. And so I'm able to actually be more, just as effective, but actually more. It's weird. Maybe because I think sometimes when people come into the office, we get to talking and laughing and just, kicking it around as opposed and connecting as opposed to, hey, this is your appointment time and this is the time we have. So I'm much more organized with my clients, and I'm able to even see more clients doing it this way. And this is what I like. I want to keep doing it this way.
Yeah, and even in my industry, so I'm in the mortgage industry, and years ago, right, you would go and you would take a mortgage application, sitting at a table with a family. Well, now everything is done online. Everything is digital. People, just what you said, you get on Zoom and you go over the questions and you review it. It'll never go back. Why? Why would it ever go back? I mean, we're going to do it digital, and it's so much more efficient and so much better. So yeah, we've learned, and that goes back to that 20 years in the future. We're 20 years in the future already, which is awesome. Wow. All right, Karen, tell us what was going on in your world over this last year, and what did you adapt and change, and how did it affect your business, and kind of how did you get to be thriving now?
Actually, it didn't affect my business in a negative way. It had a very positive impact on the development of the business. When I think about that question, Laura, I think about back in 2001 when we had 9/11,
Oh, yeah.
9/11 bombing. And my experience was, as I began to observe people trying to get home, people in the workforce, everyone was very loving, they were very caring, and they were very attentive to one another. And what came to me was, out of everything that appears to be bad, there's always some good to follow. And that's what I seen in that experience. So when the pandemic came about, of course, fear set in, going into the grocery stores, and people were panicking to purchase food. The shelves were empty.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, going into supply stores and people with masks, and it became kind of scary because our faces were taken away and you didn't know one another. So that was quite an experience for me, and so I sat with that, and I began to talk with close friends of mine to kind of look at what was taking place at the beginning. And what we realized and talked about was people would start experiencing symptoms of isolation, mental illness would come about, and we would lose the touch with people, the socialization. But what happened for me in a positive way, right at the end of 2019 in my ministry at church, the theme for 2020 was freedom. And once the pandemic came about, I couldn't see the freedom, but it was just the other day as I was thinking about 2020 and 2021, I did experience the freedom to make better choices and decisions, the freedom to live with me without all of the distractions and the obstructions in life. 2020 offered to me an opportunity to reflect on my life and to see where I wanted to go, further. It allowed me to see how resilient I am and how resilient others are, and more of discovering who I am without all of that, the job, without businesses, the family. Who am I in the midst of all of that? So that was a personal self-discovery.
Wow.
And in that, I gained the freedom to become and be who I already was. I just lost it. And what I noticed also in 2020, I became more attentive to my environment. The sky was much brighter. The birds were more beautiful.
I took more pictures of clouds in the sky than in my whole life.
So in spite of
been there before, right?
Honey, I tell you, I would be sitting in my car right in my driveway and see a beautiful bird fly on it, and I had never seen that before. So things became brighter, and it brought about more clarity, and I got busy with my daily ritual with meditating, prayer, and journaling. And my journal is simple conversation to the Creator. And in doing so, I was fed information to formulate a bridge to the horizon. I am the unique element to my business. I am the individual that would lead people on that bridge to reach for the imminent future
Yep.
with infinite possibilities. And so that's what came out of 2020.
So that actually started in 20?
Yes.
Wow.
Vision, you know, it was purpose. Is for me, what came to me is helping others tap into their purpose.
Yep. Which ties in very nicely with Patricia that has this book about.
Yeah.
Look, I do these hand things, and when I do that, it's like, come on, Patricia, we there, we
That's
see.
right.
And that's what I believe is happening. You know, I believe that 2020 was a year of reflection and resilience. I truly believe that, and freedom. 2021 is a year for purpose. Operating in purpose and vision. I believe that each one of us has a vision that's planted inside of us, but sometimes we get so busy that we don't fulfill the very things that brings us a life we love living, a life of fulfillment. You know, we are employed, we have careers, but am I truly fulfilled by doing that? And if all of that is, this is what the experience has taught me. If all of that is taken away from me, who am I and what am I in the midst of being with myself?
Right.
Because
And that's a hard question. That's a very hard question, Karen.
and that's my work in the Bridge to the Horizon, is to help people see their true value, their true worth as individuals. Not what we do, but who we are as a people.
Wow.
And be able to walk in that boldly. You know, so
Wow.
you know, and so
Again, ladies, if you go back to past episodes, you pretty much almost hear me say this at every episode. It blows my mind how you take strangers
yes,
and you pull them together, and yet we're all aligned, thinking the same way, on the same path. Somehow we are drawn together. I don't know how it happens, but
Laura, I believe it's the vibrations and the energy that we as a people have within us
that we push out.
When we allow that energy and we push the vibrations of our inner self out, then we attract that which we are seeking. And this is how we come together. We are attracting that which we are seeking. Like-minded people, people that's operating in purpose, creativity, love, all of that. We are attracting that which we are seeking.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That is why I still do this show all these weeks later, because it fills me up to a level of, I'm like, this is magic. This is just magic, and we just have to keep doing it. Oh my goodness! All right, now I get
beautiful, Laura, is the fact that we are no longer bound by distance.
No, right?
No,
we can go all over.
Yeah.
All over.
Infinite possibilities.
Right.
Infinite possibilities.
That's what I love. I love that I'm no longer having to stay within this radius. I can go to New Jersey. Hey, Laura, Jersey. I can go wherever, California, and I could be right here in my living room. So
she said we're 20 years in the future.
Yeah, 20 years in the future. Welcome to the Jetsons. Here we are.
This has been,
You know, Laura, I found too, a lot of the women that I'm communicating with now, they're in the UK. They're in Germany. They're in Australia. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I would have never met those people.
And I think that's the thing, is I think the whole world got smaller.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
yes,
It really did.
Yes.
Right? It got smaller.
Out of everything that appears to be bad, and it has been bad, there's always good to come
There's
out
some
of
good.
it. We're coming together.
Right.
Getting closer and closer.
Absolutely. All right, Patricia, I get to go to my favorite question, just because it's one of those things that it gives me such joy hearing people, and poor Karen didn't get the pre-call, so she had to figure out what she's doing with this superpower question.
Oh, we got it. We got it.
All right. So at this point, I always I encourage the guests to ask a loved one what their superpower is. It's not mandatory, but I do love the exercise. But at this point, Patricia, I would love to hear what your special gift or superpower is that you possess and share with the world.
Okay. Well, I did ask my husband. I decided, okay, I'm going to see. This will be interesting. But it was really it was fascinating. He said he thinks my superpower, and I believe that too. It was interesting because we've been together almost 44 years, and it's like we're very much aligned. You know, it's
Oh, after 44 years, you're definitely aligned.
Yeah, definitely soulmate. So he said, you know, I think it's that you can engage people in such a way that they trust you. And that's not something you learn, really. It's more of who you are. And I've had more people make that statement when I'm not even asking the question, but they'll say, you can do rapport really well. And I think it's because I love people, and I love to listen, and I love to hear their stories. I love hearing other people's stories. And so it led me to coaching. It did, led me to ministry. I was in ministry for 40-some years. So it's just been an amazing journey. And I really do believe I succeeded in all the different things that I've done because of that, because I love to engage and gain that trust. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I think in order to be perceived that way and to have that gift, you have to truly care and love people. So when it comes right down to it, it starts there, right? And that's part of it. And that is a true gift to the world. So thank you for that, Patricia. That is awesome. Love it. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. All right, Angela, let's hear it.
Right. Well, it's funny because you put superpower in the singular, and all that I asked gave me different
Share away. Give multiple. It doesn't have to be one.
So I have multiple superpowers, just like Patricia. I was told that I was a great listener, very encouraging. And my husband said, and I know why he said, and he's right. He said, you have the ability to persevere and your commitment to things.
Yeah.
Interesting. He said, because he calls it the pit bull. I'm not gonna stop. So I'm just holding on to things and won't do it until I get it done, get it right. And I just do it and didn't know that was innate, that I do that. No matter how painful it's been, how hard it is. I think of the things that I have accomplished, and I just think about the times that in my heart, I thought I was going to give up. There were times I didn't think I was going to live. There were times that I didn't want to do it anymore. But yet there was something inside that dug deep and got deeper and was able to say, okay, let's do this. And lastly, my smile.
Yes.
And I just didn't realize that, it was a superpower. I thank God for it, because behind the smile is love, is light, is joy, is happiness. Not all the time, but deep down inside, that's who I am. And and people say, "Did you ever wear braces?" I've never had braces a day in my life, and I just thank God. And my mother got a big gap between her teeth, so I didn't get them from my mama. That my smile is my superpower, because you ask the question, what makes everybody smile? And guess what it is? Another smile.
Absolutely. I think that's been one of the biggest struggles with wearing a mask. I think it really, because I'm one of those people too. I like to really smile, and I love Zoom because I can smile. But I struggle with the mask when you're out, because you can't show that you're smiling. And that probably was one of the hardest things I had to get over, with that. How did you deal with that, Angela? I'm curious.
Well, I cannot be honest with you. I hate the mask.
Well, I don't think anybody loves the mask.
I hate the mask. I don't know. I mean, because the fact is, because of the mask, I really don't go out that much.
Yeah.
Once a week outing.
Yeah. No, well, there you go. That's your answer. Your answer is because of that, you just stay.
Now with my eyes.
Yeah. There you go. Well, you have beautiful eyes too. So the eyes work also.
Yeah.
Well, that I literally could feel you as you were saying your superpowers. So thank you for sharing. I truly felt it. So that was awesome. Awesome. All right, Karen.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a really fun question. It was a fun question that I asked quite a few of my friends like Angie. And I must say that I was able to see Angela's superpower through her smile and her beauty. You know, I believe that her soul comes through her smile and through her eyes. And that's a superpower that she has. But mine, I went to my daughter first.
Okay.
She had to think about it. I said, don't put a lot of thought into this.
No overanalyzing.
Overanalyze. It's a fun question. And she said, Ma, I see you as being fearless. A fearless person. And then I went to a group of ladies that I'm very close with, and I asked them the same question.
Yeah.
And one person said that my presence commands respect.
Ah.
If I come into a room, it just commands respect. Others said that.
So that's your leadership. That's leader. That's your person. Yeah.
Leadership.
Yeah, that's your leadership.
Exactly. And others said spiritual, powerfully peaceful, ability to guide others to their truths, a spiritual presence, encourager, nurturer, good listener. And I just love hearing all of those attributes and superpowers.
Listen, I told you this little exercise, it's like you wish you could ask people this all the time, but you didn't have a reason, right?
Can I keep that going? And so last but not least, a very close friend of mine said that she's seeing my superpower to be my life story and the transparency of sharing my story. That was powerful to me. She said my life story and the transparency of me sharing my life story. That was deep. And so I captured that within my spirit. It was like, go with who you are. You are who you are. And don't be afraid to be who you are in comparison of what you see in others. You know, just use my life as a stepping stone to help guide others to go forward in their lives. So when she sent me that, she said the greatest superpower I have is my life's experience and transparency.
Wow. Wow.
Someone and honesty, integrity, and it was like, and I embrace that. I truly embrace everything that they said about me. I do, and it's not received out of vainness, but it's received out of knowing who I am.
That's right.
And
none of this is received out of us being full of it. It's how others see us, right? That's what we put out to the world, and it's how others see us. It's just unfortunate that we don't have these conversations on a normal basis. It's kind of like comfortable to have that conversation, and that's the beauty of this, is that it allowed you guys to hear these wonderful things. And what I encourage you to do, and what I've seen past guests do, is now you're aware of it. And once you become aware of it, you start leaning more and more into it, because you're like, that is me. You know, people like that. That's a good thing. And the next thing you know, you're really leaning into it. And that just makes you shine brighter with the world.
Yeah.
So it's glorious. Oh my goodness. All right, ladies, we are coming to the point where I get to hear who's joining me next week. All right, Patricia, who will I have the pleasure next week?
Well, I am hoping you will have the pleasure of having Adriana Alvarez. She is a fantastic woman. She does so many trainings and has her own publishing company and has trained many of us. I mean, she's just really amazing and knows how to keep you on point and how to be a mentor. And I mean, all of those things. She's really good.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing her
Mhm.
story. All right, Angela, who will I have the pleasure?
You will have, and all the viewers will have the pleasure of meeting this amazing, amazing woman named Diane. And
Awesome.
I will let her tell you who she is, but that doesn't matter. Once you hear her, you're just going to be wowed. You're going to be wowed. That's all I'm
I can't wait.
I call her, but I do call her the word ninja.
Oh.
She is just masterful with poetry, with words. Just and I just, to put it like this, when I'm around her, I want to have a tape recorder because I don't want to miss the thing she
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
said.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now I'm like on my edge of my seat. I'm like, ooh, can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh my God, wait a minute, let me write that down.
Yeah, woo!
Oh my
And I love the word ninja. That is amazing. All right. All right, Karen, who do I have the pleasure?
Quite amazing how this is flowing.
Oh, here we go. Can't wait.
It's amazing. Her name is Deidre Maxwell. She's my confidant. She is a mentor for me, and she too is a writer. And her writing comes from within. In fact, I'm wearing a T-shirt that she created from her inner self, and it says, "Your will or God's plan." Is it my will or is it God's plan for my life? So she sent that to me. I received it today, and I said, "Oh wow, I have to wear it today for this show." And so I talked with her today, and she's purging. She's doing some purging, and I said to her, in order to purge, then purge. So I'm inviting you and nominating you to come on this show, and let's purge. You know, purging from old stuff into who she really is.
Wow.
And so I'm excited to have her come on next week. At first she was kind of like backing up, no, because I'm trying to purge, and I'm coming out of this, and I'm trying to get over it. Okay, well, let's purge to purge, and I'm nominating you for the show. It's fun. In order for you to purge, I said to her, in order for you to purge, then let's purge. And so
There
I'm
we go.
nominating you for the show to really exhibit who she is from within and all the gifts that she embraces, and allowing her the platform to shine before the audience of your show.
Wow,
So
that is awesome. I look forward to meeting all of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ladies, thank you so much for sharing. This has been beyond inspirational, motivational, just the connection. All of you are so amazing. We wish you all the best in everything
Yes.
in life.
Thank
Take
you.
care, guys.
It's been great.
Bye.